Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jess Dowdrick. Scott and Jacqueline have the night off. Topping our news tonight, a storm system causing heavy rains and flooding across the Suncoast. A whopping 4 inches of rainfall has been reported in West Manatee County. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Jess. A stationary front, a couple of pieces of energy moving across that front has brought a tremendous amount of rain in a short period of time. Here's the Anna Maria webcam from about 11 o'clock this afternoon. You can see that rain on again and off again, heavy at times. The heaviest by far was right around noon to 1 o'clock when 3.44 inches of rain fell in just a short period of time at the weather station Ed Goff there on Anna Maria Island. And the rain did move into North Sarasota County, causing some flooding as well on US 41. We had some heavy rainfall there, causing tough driving conditions. And if we see this video, you'll see right there where it typically floods as a result, again, of the construction as well as quite a bit of buildings around that water, no place to go, and drivers having a hard go of it unless you were in a high-profile vehicle with a truck. But again, this is an area that typically floods during a couple of inches of rainfall, and that's what we did see over North Sarasota County, higher amounts on into Manatee County. Well, let's go to the maps now and show you what's happening. The heavy rain is over for Manatee County for now. What we have is this frontal boundary still pretty much stuck right over the top of us. And to the west of that, we start to see some lightning showing up here on the radar imagery. This is another little piece of energy. It's so far away from the radar site that you're not seeing the deep reds and yellows, but this is going to be moving in our direction too. So we're going to see that rain chance stay elevated through the evening hours and then taper off after midnight. The heaviest rain by far, though, that brought us that flooding problem is now slipped off into East DeSoto County and into central Charlotte County. Right now, some light rainfall into Southgate, also near Lake Sarasota, some showers there. But by far the most concerning is into east portions of DeSoto County and into Highlands County at this time. Rainfall amounts estimate from the Doppler radar site, rather impressive. Over 4 inches estimated there onto Anna Maria Island, 3.5 near, again, I-75 and State Road 64. You can see where that heavy rainfall occurred in northwest Bradenton, also near Palmasola, all the way down near Cortez. And then this area in particular near US 301 and Onico had over 2.5 inches there. So the rainfall, no watches or warnings at this point. However, as I said, the heavy showers and storms could come back later on this evening. We'll talk more about that. And another storm system that'll come through over the weekend in just a few minutes. Jess?
Thank you, Bob. 2 police officers and 2 suspects are recovering after an early morning shooting in Sarasota. ABC 7's Dwayne Lindo has the latest.
An early morning shooting that included 2 Sarasota police officers, Jonathan Torres and Brandon Vermillion, who shot at a vehicle speeding towards him. Of the 3 people in the moving car, 2 of them sustained minor injuries. The driver, Jeremy Trebles Jr. He was a member of the Venice High State champion football team, who was arrested in January on cocaine charges. He's still being treated in the hospital and will be charged with aggravated assault. The officers received minor injuries in the incident and were treated and released. The chief expressing concern not only with this case, but other incidents within the past month, and is asking the community for help.
They know anything, see anything, especially when it comes to a lot of the drug activity, because I'm concerned some of the things that we're seeing have to do with rivals about drugs.
She also applauded the officers making split-second decisions and added that even with the recent incidents, there is no animosity between the community and police.
I meet with our community regularly. We've had many community meetings. We engage with our citizens. Community policing is our philosophy.
The recent violence especially hard for Leslie Harrell with Sarasota's community response team.
We're tired of the violence, all the gunshots and all the shooting. So we just want to help our young people before somebody really gets hurt. And this gun violence needs to end.
That was Dwayne Lindo reporting. Again, minor injuries for all involved, and at this point, the Sarasota police are still gathering information and still investigating. A Manatee County Schools bus driver is fired 9 months after he was convicted of soliciting prostitution. 50-year-old Jerome Heaven was arrested in an undercover operation conducted by the Bradenton Police Department in July of 2017. Heaven was convicted by a jury in February and sentenced to probation and community service. Today, Heaven had his termination hearing in front of the school board, something school board members say he has the right to. Legal counsel Mitch Teitelbaum asking the board to terminate Heaven, the board unanimously voting to do so.
Not one that ever rode my bus could say that I mistreated them or done wrong toward them. Yet you want to fire me for something I wasn't even at your job. You weren't even paying me.
Since Heaven was arrested, the district says he has not been around students. Instead, he's been washing dishes and doing desk work at the district support center. John Allen Lee is preparing for sentencing after a jury found him guilty of murder in Sarasota County. Lee convicted of the 2011 murders of his ex-girlfriend, Tracy Nabergall, and neighbor, Jason Salter. His first trial ended in a mistrial, and even though he was found guilty of murder in the second trial, a judge later threw that conviction out. Lee faces the death penalty or life in prison without parole. Police in St. Petersburg have arrested the man bun creeper. He was caught at a Publix grocery store using his cell phone to take photos up the skirts of two women. One of the women noticed, but the other still may not know she's a victim. Police say 35-year-old Brian Augustus Hasselhoff was arrested today for video voyeurism. Sarasota police continue to actively search for 15-year-old Jabez Spann, but the number of tips and leads is slowly dwindling down. ABC 7's Alan Cohn joins us with more on what's coming up tonight at 7.
Jess, only 10 callers have submitted tips since January 1st, and all those leads were dead ends. Investigators have interviewed multiple people, but have not named any suspects or a person of interest. SPD is confident someone in the community knows what happened to Jabez.
If you've overheard someone talking about this case, give us a call. Even the most minute part of information that you might have might be the break that we need in this case.
Coming up tonight on ABC 7 at 7, we'll hear from Jabez's family and find out why this case is so challenging for investigators. Jess.
Thank you, Alan. Next week, the Florida Constitution Revision Commission will consider a dozen ballot proposals for the November general election. Among them is a proposal saying victims of crime and their families deserve more of a voice in the criminal justice system. It would create a Crime Victims Bill of Rights in the state constitution, ensuring victims of crime have the same rights and protections in the court system as those who are accused and convicted. Some rights would include being notified of major developments in a criminal case, any change in an offender's release status, the right to be heard in court, and the right to restitution. Florida is one of just 15 states currently without constitutional level protections for crime victims.
The bottom line is that these folks, the victims, did not choose to be in the criminal justice process. They were thrust into it, or the loved ones of a victim are thrust into it because of the crime done to their loved one who's no longer with them. So yes, it is appropriate for them to have a voice.
If passed next week, the proposed amendment would require approval by at least 60% of voters during the 2018 general election this November. ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now. Richard, a strong day from start to finish.
Yeah, and guess who we have to thank for it is the president of China. Who would have ever thought of that?
Yeah, really.
Strange allies, strange bedfellows, whatever. The market was up by 532 points at the high of the day. And yes, indeed, as I just said to Jess, the reason for it is, looks like perhaps China is backing off a little bit with their tariff issues. And if that's the case, the tariff on U.S. cars going to China will be reduced. That was exactly what Wall Street wanted to hear. And as we said, up day, start to finish. Let's take a look at the numbers. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up by 429 points, 1.8%, closing at 24,407.86. That on a volume of 992 million shares. The NASDAQ, a big mover for the day, up almost 2.1%, 144 points, closing at 7,094.30. That on volume of 2,424 million shares. The S&P, darn good day, up 44 points, 1 2/3%, closing at 2,656.87. Well, today was the day that Mark Zuckerberg got to testify before a Senate committee. Tomorrow he'll get to do it before a committee of the House of Representatives. He testified about Facebook and all the problems it's having with keeping people's information confidential. He apologized, and he apologized again. When all was said and done, and listen to this, shares of Facebook were up by 2.5% when he started his testimony. When the market closed at 4 o'clock, they were up by 4.5%. So somebody thinks that he said something exactly right. And oh, by the way, a 4.5% gain in one day is Facebook's best day in more than 2 years.
Wow, that's incredible. What can we expect for tomorrow, Richard?
Well, round 2 with Mark Zuckerberg, and if he does as well tomorrow as he did today, there'll be a lot of happy investors.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
All right, thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Still to come on your Suncoast News, the FBI raids the office, home, and hotel room of President Trump's lawyer, why the president is calling the move a disgrace. And Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your first alert forecast. Plus, new scams aimed at seniors enrolled in Medicare. More on these stories when we come back.
The ABC 7 Stock Report is sponsored by Sunset Cadillac.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
It's California Closet's Lighting and Accessories Sales Event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
Rose takes her volunteering for Tidewell Hospice very seriously. But she knows how to have fun, too. And that's what she brings when we're invited to visit patients as part of Tidewell's pet therapy program. People love to see her. She really brightens their day. She makes people smile. And in end-of-life care, a smile can be a wonderful gift. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
20 years ago, the moviegoers of Sarasota looked up at the silver screen and wanted something more. And they got exactly what they wanted. 20 years of some of the best independent films from around the world. The most iconic Hollywood stars walking the red carpet. The most glamorous parties in Southwest Florida. 20 years building up to the most exciting announcement in, well, 20 years. At the Sarasota Film Festival, April 13th to the 22nd.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Wild Broadway series brings you Funny Girl. Fanny Brice dreams of being famous and through sheer guts and determination becomes a star of the Ziegfeld Follies. Playing March 28th through April 15th, it's the songs and story that generations have grown to love. Call the Players Center at 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. Don't rain on my parade. Come see Funny Girl.
It's California Closet's Lighting and Accessories Sales Event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
Now to the latest on that surprise move from the FBI, raiding 3 locations related to the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Agents seizing a host of items and documents, President Trump calling it a break-in and a witch hunt. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the details.
It's an extraordinary move, sending shockwaves through the White House.
It's a disgraceful situation.
Early Monday morning raids on the office, home, and hotel room where Michael Cohen, the president's personal lawyer, was staying. Sources close to the investigation tell ABC News that the FBI seized electronic devices, phones, and a host of other documents, including some related to Cohen's $130,000 payment to adult entertainer Stormy Daniels in the days leading up to the 2016 election. The White House has repeatedly denied that President Trump had an affair with Daniels. Mr. Trump says these raids are just part of the, quote, witch hunt against him.
And it's a disgrace. It's frankly a real disgrace. It's an attack on our country in a true sense.
But senior officials at the Department of Justice and a federal judge had to sign off on the raids after special counsel Robert Mueller referred the case to his boss, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein.
It seems he came upon some sort of potential criminal activity.
Sources say Mueller believed the investigation was beyond the scope of his Russia probe. Rosenstein then passed the case over to federal prosecutors in New York, who decided there was enough evidence to justify searches.
The standard for a judge to sign off on this is high.
President Trump slammed these raids on Twitter, saying attorney-client privilege is dead, but legal experts disagree.
That if the authorities believe that the president and his lawyer, or anyone and their lawyer, are together engaged in a possible crime or fraud, then the attorney-client privilege doesn't necessarily apply.
Investigators will be digging into nearly every aspect of Cohen's life, including his finances, companies he owns, anything that may reveal evidence of a crime. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
More troops are heading to the U.S.-Mexico border. Texas now committing to send more than 1,000 troops, but frustration from Mexico's president continues to grow. Mexico's President Enrique Pena Nieto now calling for a formal review of U.S. cooperation. So far, Texas and Arizona have deployed more than 500 guardsmen. New Mexico just announcing more than 80 troops will deploy later this week. It is also beginning wall construction along a 20-mile stretch of the border this month.
It's going to be harder to get over, harder to get through, harder to get underneath. It's going to have a 5-foot anti-scaling plate at the top.
California is the only border state that has not committed to sending National Guardsmen to the border. A Guard spokesman, however, says the governor is still considering it. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan joins us again with the first alert forecast. Bob, it's been a rainy day. Are we expecting any more rain tonight?
We could see some showers. We're not going to see the heavy weather like we saw earlier in Manatee County. You know, Sarasota, Venice, Siesta Key didn't get nearly as much as we saw in places like Palmasola, Bradenton, Holmes Beach, and Anna Maria Island. They saw up to 4 inches of rainfall in a short period of time, causing some flooding along Manatee Avenue. That water has since receded, and the advisories have been lifted. You can see the frontal boundary drifting south. It finally made a move at around noon today, brought heavy rainfall with it and even some severe weather over eastern portions of Manatee County. No reports of any damage, but it looks like the main energy now is down to our south and to the east of our immediate area. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods. We still see showers developing out here in the Gulf of Mexico, but they're not nearly as intense. So again, it looks like the front, at least the front now, which was stationary, is now down to our south, continuing to push off to the southeast. We're going to see some drier air. We're going to see some sunshine tomorrow and temperatures a little bit cooler. So that's kind of a nice benefit from this front. But notice these showers out here are still kind of popping up now and again, indicating there's some energy out here in the Gulf of Mexico, which is streaming in our general direction. So we'll see showers scattered about, I think, through later on this evening into the early morning hours on into Wednesday. But the heavy weather by far is well to the south and east, and that is weakening too. That's a good sign. Light rain now from Siesta Key northward into western portions of Manatee County. These are estimates now. I saw a rainfall total at Holmes Beach over 4 inches, 4.20 inches to be exact, with a weather station there reported on the ground. These again are estimates from the Doppler radar site, and the lesser amounts into South Sarasota County, but still pretty impressive, 1.7 inches right there near Northport. As I mentioned, Sarasota not getting nearly as much, but pretty good rain. Venice had a ½ inch reported there. We'll check the weather gauge as well into Venice as we move through time. Now, as far as our forecast is concerned, we are looking at cooler weather heading in. You can see these cooler temperatures now to the north of us. Well, that's going to slip on in throughout the day tomorrow. Highs will be into the upper 70s. Rain cooled air now has chilled things out to 72 degrees at Sarasota. And as far as our current temps go, the Gulf water temperature now is 78. That kind of added to the fuel of the storms, just the warm, moist air and getting some of that fuel from the Gulf of Mexico as these storms worked off to the east. Also, some upper-level energy allowing more lift to occur. Really built those storms up into Manatee County. Wauchula now at 71, 74 in Arcadia, Punta Gorda at 80 degrees. Starting to see a little bit of break in the cloudiness here with our tower cam. 72 degrees. The dew point is at 67. Winds out of the south-southwest would indicate the front really hasn't made its way through, but the surface map is showing that cold front down to our south. But we still have a ways to go, I think, before we eventually get rid of all this rainfall. It'll happen by sunrise tomorrow as we move through time. Now, as far as the rainfall forecast goes, we could see an additional ½ inch of rain in some areas. I think lesser amounts in most, but a ½ inch is not out of the question. Over the rest of the U.S., winter refuses to leave, and it looks like even into New York, they're getting some snow flurries there. We have yet another snowstorm developing over the central Rockies right now, which is promises to bring some very heavy snowfall across the northern plain states and upper Mississippi Valley. Some lake effect snow still occurring over parts of New York. Also in Toronto, kind of a rain-snow mix there. We take away the clouds and you can see all that kind of rain and snow mix throughout New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. But the big story is out west. That steady plume of moisture continues to work its way onshore into California. And this is the European forecast. Still some snow tonight, freezing rain over Michigan, also toward Toronto. And then another weak snowstorm moves through northern portions of Minnesota. But get a look at this. This is the big snowstorm. Upper level low spinning very slowly to the east will produce up to a foot of snowfall into parts of Nebraska, into South Dakota, even into parts of Minnesota over the upcoming days. You can see this is a snowstorm forecast through Sunday, and the areas in purple that you see here, that's up to a foot of snow into central Minnesota, also into South Dakota. Omaha could get up to 3 to 6 inches of snowfall before it's all said and done. So winter not officially over quite yet for those folks. So temperatures for highs tomorrow, 30s and 40s over the upper Great Lakes. We'll see a little bit cooler weather across our area. Highs will be into the upper 70s across the region as opposed to the low to mid 80s, which we've seen over the past couple of days. For boaters, a little bit rough going out there. Seas running 2 to 4 feet with a moderate chop. North winds at 15 knots, and the water temperature now at 78 degrees. And we'll see beaches get about 78. Should be a good beach day tomorrow, although a bit breezy out of the north. Well, here's the 7-day forecast then. Nice on Wednesday, better still on Thursday. Low temperature 62 to start things off. That's nice. Friday, lots of sunshine, a little bit warmer, 85 degrees. Warm, moist air moves in advance of the next cold front, which will be very strong in terms of shower and thunderstorm activity. I do believe we could see some very heavy rainfall with it too. Right now, the rain chance at around 60%. And then look at this. On Monday, the high temperature 73 and even into the upper 50s on Tuesday morning. So things will cool down once that second cold front moves through over the weekend. Jess?
Thank you, Bob. Now to First Alert traffic. The DeSoto Bridge is slow going tonight. The northbound lanes heading into Palmetto are showing some congestion. However, heading south into Bradenton, it's looking clear. In health news tonight, it's National Youth HIV and AIDS Awareness Day. Its goal is to educate more teens about preventing the disease and getting tested. According to the CDC, 1 in 5 new patients diagnosed with HIV are between the ages of 13 and 24. Part of the problem, 17-year-old Camille Homer says the focus in high school sex ed classes is not on HIV and AIDS.
In school, they don't really talk much about the HIVs. It's more of STDs and what you can do to get rid of STDs. It's really not the topic of HIVs.
I wish they understood that, you know, those that are at highest risk and living with HIV are, you know, average 13 to 24 for being diagnosed. You know, they're not exempt by any means because they're young, and they're not exempt just because maybe they have sex one time. That's all it takes.
It's important for teens to get tested. Despite the high numbers of HIV cases in teens, only 10% of high school students here in the U.S. have been tested for the disease, according to the CDC. The federal government is taking new precautions to protect Medicare participants. New cards are in the mail to help prevent scams aimed at seniors enrolled in Medicare. The cards will have an 11-digit identification number instead of a social security number. Congress mandated the change by April of 2019. All 59 million participants will get the new cards over the next year. You may be indulging your sweet tooth without even knowing it. The CDC estimates that most of the U.S. gets 16% of our calories from hidden sugars in our diets. Check out these comparisons. 5 tablespoons of ketchup has the same amount of sugar as 3 tablespoons of vanilla frosting. 4 tablespoons of fat-free raspberry pecan dressing contains as much sugar as 4 tablespoons of chocolate syrup, also 20 grams. And 1 8-ounce bottle of tonic water shares the same amount of sugar as 1 7-ounce fruit punch juice box, 22 grams. Some tips for avoiding hidden sugars: check the label. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 24 grams per day for women and 36 grams per day for men. Also, scan the ingredients for corn syrup, sugar, and fructose. The higher on the list, the more sugar. A tiny squirrel with a broken leg gets a tiny cast, and Move Over Canines kitty cops are on the way. Coming up in today's Take a Look at This.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
The La Musica International Chamber Music Festival, the annual celebration of a distinctive cultural gem in Sarasota, with renowned musicians from around the world. April 9th through April 18th at the Sarasota Opera House. Visit lamusicafestival.org, click on Festival, open tickets, and get your seats now.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
The Mark, Sarasota. Landmark living in the center of it all. A private oasis in the sky. Luxurious private amenities. Promenade shopping and dining. The best of downtown downstairs. Now under construction and priced from the mid-700s. This is life right where you want it. Call or visit our Discovery Sales Gallery today. The Mark Sarasota, presented by the Culture Group.
Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Young dance students are forced to jump for their lives from a burning strip mall in New Jersey. The terrifying scene was caught on camera. You can see the flames engulfing the building with people trapped inside. The massive smoke clouds continue to billow up as neighbors and first responders rush a ladder to the second floor, but it was too short to reach, so the dancers jumped into the arms of rescuers one by one. Miraculously, no one was seriously hurt. Going to space would be cool, right? How about spending the night in a space hotel? Today, Orionspan revealed that just 72 hours after announcing Aurora Station, the first ever luxury space hotel, 4 months of reservations are sold out. Travelers from across the globe, including North America, Europe, and the Middle East, have placed an $80,000 deposit towards their future stay on Aurora Station. The space hotel is slated to host its first guests in 2022. A windstorm in western New York resulted in downed trees and power outages, and what ended up being the tiniest leg cast you've probably ever seen. Jeremy Roth explains in today's Take a Look at This.
This may be the cutest broken leg ever, if that's even a thing. This little squirrel in western New York is on the mend after suffering a broken leg. It happened after a windstorm swept through the area, damaging trees and knocking out power. The Orphan Wildlife Center says a resident said she heard crying sounds after a tree fell, and what she found was 2 baby squirrels along with a downed nest. She brought the injured animals to the center and then to a local vet for treatment, and that's where this teeny tiny patient got her teeny tiny leg cast. Doctors are calling her Katerina and say she should be fine in a couple of weeks. And now to a serious non-animal related story. Just kidding! Many police departments have canine units, but officers in Troy, Michigan wanted felines on their force. It all started with a social media challenge. The department vowed it would get a cat if it had 10,000 Twitter followers by April. Twitter users obliged, and so the department started interviewing candidates for the job. The department made its choice and will now look to followers for naming suggestions. But if you think this new kitty cop's going to be out on the beat catching perpetrators, think again. Instead, it will be used for therapeutic purposes and making public appearances. As for the rest of the candidates, they were made available for adoption. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
I just love those kitty cops. Still to come on your Suncoast News, major flooding being reported across the Suncoast, how long we can expect a chance of showers. And with road rage incidents becoming more and more common, what law enforcement says drivers should do to avoid altercations on the road.
It's California Closet's Lighting and Accessories Sales Event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in an accident, whether or not it's your fault, your insurance company might be responsible for some of your expenses. So give us a call. We've got your back.
Fun for the whole family, the 26th Annual Venice Shark's Tooth Festival, benefiting special athletes of Sarasota County, fossil vendors, arts and crafts, food, children's games, and live entertainment with headliners the Gator Creek Band on Friday night, Rockin' Rogues, Maiden Cane, Glass Onion, Kettle of Fish, Paisley Craze, and the Boogeymen. Admission $4, children 12 and under free. Parking is free. The annual Venice Shark's Tooth Festival, April 13th, 14th, and 15th at the Venice Airport Festival grounds.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover One Particular Harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
CashNet USA is trusted by over 2 million customers.
Perfect. When I lean back, I trust that you will be there to catch me.
Okay, bad idea, bad idea.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
It's California Closet's Lighting and Accessories Sales Event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.